It starts like any other morning. You wake up, you shuffle into the bathroom, the mirror, the tiles, the familiar routine. It all feels ordinary. But what if, in the quietest room of your house, something completely unexpected happens? A dizzy spell, a fall, a moment that seems small, but changes everything. That's exactly what happened to one of my patients, a retired librarian in her early 70s. She stood up too fast after using the toilet, felt a wave of lightheadedness, reached for the sink, and missed. The bruise on her forehead seemed minor, but 3 days later, she was in the ER with slurred speech. A CT scan revealed a small brain bleed, a silent stroke, triggered by one ordinary habit. This isn't rare, it's not dramatic, and most importantly, it's not random. Today, we're going to uncover 5 everyday bathroom habits that quietly increase your risk of stroke, heart attack, and even long-term loss of independence. And chances are, you did at least one of them this morning without thinking twice. Now, you might be wondering, can something as simple as how we sit or stand really affect our heart or brain? Absolutely, especially after age 65. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive. Blood vessels stiffen. Balance becomes fragile. Even a small change in blood pressure can tip the scale from safe to serious. The good news? These risks aren't locked in. In fact, with a few small adjustments, you can turn these hidden hazards into opportunities to protect your brain, your heart, and your independence. Because instead of waiting for a medical emergency to force change, what if we made those changes now? Gently, one simple step at a time. Let's begin with the first habit. It's one most people never think twice about. But it might just be the most dangerous of them all. Let's start with something we rarely talk about, but almost everyone experiences: straining during a bowel movement. Now, that might sound harmless. It might even sound necessary. After all, if things aren't moving easily, what choice do you have? But here's what most people don't realize. Straining, especially after age 65, can silently trigger one of the most serious health events: stroke or heart attack. You see, when you hold your breath and push, what doctors call the Valsalva maneuver, you create a sudden spike in pressure inside your chest. That spike causes your blood pressure to jump, sometimes dramatically. In younger people, the body can usually handle it. The arteries are flexible, the heart compensates quickly. But in older adults, that same pressure can overwhelm the system. It can rupture a weakened vessel in the brain. It can dislodge plaque in the arteries, sending a clot straight to the heart or head. In fact, a medical review from Michigan found that 2 to 7% of sudden cardiac deaths in older adults occurred on the toilet. It even has a name: commode cardiac arrest. And here's another fact you might not expect. Constipation itself, just being backed up, has been shown to increase your risk of ischemic stroke by up to 39%. Why? Because when your body struggles to eliminate waste, everything slows down, including circulation. That slowing creates more pressure, more inflammation, and more risk of clotting. But here's the truth. This isn't about avoiding the toilet. It's about changing how you approach it. Instead of forcing your body, work with it. Stay hydrated throughout the day. Add fiber from real food, not just powders, to keep things soft and moving. Take gentle walks after meals to stimulate digestion. And if you do feel the urge, but nothing happens easily, pause, breathe, come back later. You're not in a race. You're protecting your heart, your brain, and your future. Because the difference between just get it over with and let's do this right could be the difference between another healthy morning and one you never saw coming. Now let's talk about something that feels like pure comfort. A hot shower. For many people, it's the best part of the day. The warmth, the steam, the quiet. But here's a question most people never ask. What's happening inside your body when that hot water hits your skin? Because while it may feel relaxing on the outside, inside, it's a different story, especially for older adults. When you step into a very hot shower, your blood vessels suddenly dilate. That means they open wide, causing blood pressure to drop. To compensate, your heart has to beat faster and harder to maintain circulation. If your blood vessels are still flexible and strong, no problem. But after 65, many of us have stiffer arteries, maybe some plaque buildup, maybe even silent heart conditions we're not aware of. And that sudden change, the heat, the dilation, the spike in heart activity, can tip the body into danger. A study from Japan tracked seniors who regularly used very hot baths, especially in colder months. They found a higher risk of irregular heart rhythms, sudden drops in blood pressure, even fainting. In some cases, these events led to falls. In others, to cardiac incidents. So, is comfort the enemy? Not at all. But instead of scorching hot showers that leave your skin red and your heart racing, there's a safer way. Keep the water below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's still warm, still soothing, but it doesn't shock the system. And limit your time. 10 minutes or less is enough to enjoy the benefits without putting extra strain on your heart. Because comfort should never come at the cost of safety. The truth is, after 65, your body speaks in subtler ways. A little dizziness here, a little fatigue there. And when you ignore those whispers, sometimes they grow into something louder. So next time you step into the shower, pause and ask, is this temperature serving my body or stressing it? Remember, the goal isn't to give up what you enjoy. It's to make what you enjoy safe enough to keep enjoying year after year. Let me ask you something. How long do you usually spend sitting on the toilet? 5 minutes? 10? 15? Now, be honest. How much of that time is actually necessary? And how much is scrolling your phone, reading the paper, or just zoning out? For many people, the bathroom becomes a kind of hideaway, a place where you won't be interrupted, a private moment in a noisy world. But what feels like rest might actually be working against your health. Here's why. When you sit for too long, especially in the slightly hunched position most people take on the toilet, blood flow to your lower body slows down. That's true for anyone. But in older adults, this pooling of blood can lead to clot formation. If a clot forms in your legs and travels to your brain, it can cause a stroke. If it moves toward your heart, it could trigger a heart attack. And it's not just the sitting, it's the posture, the pressure, even the distraction. A large study in the UK followed over 13,000 seniors and found that spending more than 10 minutes per toilet trip was linked to a 37% higher risk of cardiovascular events. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. You might think, well, I'm not straining, I'm just sitting. But stillness can be just as risky as effort, especially when paired with poor circulation and age-related vascular changes. And here's something else. Using your phone during that time, scrolling, reading, staring at a bright screen, activates your nervous system. It keeps your body slightly alert, slightly tense. That tension raises your baseline blood pressure, without you even realizing it. Instead of lingering, treat the bathroom like a task, not a timeout. Get in. Do what needs to be done. Then move. If you need a moment to yourself, take it somewhere that supports better posture and better circulation, like a comfy chair by a sunny window. Because while the bathroom may feel like the only place you get peace and quiet, sitting there longer than necessary could be putting quiet pressure on your brain and heart. It's a small shift in habit, but it could mean a big shift in health. It happens in a flash. You finish up, you stand, and suddenly the room tilts. Your vision goes dark for a second. You reach out to catch yourself. Maybe you steady your balance, or maybe you don't. That moment, just a few seconds long, can be one of the most dangerous for older adults. And yet, we almost never think about it. The act of standing up seems simple, routine. But for the body, especially a body over 65, it's a major adjustment. When you shift from sitting to standing, gravity pulls your blood downward toward your legs. To keep blood flowing to your brain, your blood vessels have to tighten quickly. Your heart has to respond instantly. But as we age, that response slows. The vessels don't tighten as fast. The heart may lag. And the result is what doctors call orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when you stand. It can cause dizziness, unsteadiness, confusion, or, in the worst case, a fall. One of my patients, a retired teacher in her early 70s, woke up in the middle of the night, stood up too fast to use the bathroom, and lost her balance. She hit her head on the edge of the sink. At first, she brushed it off. A bump, nothing more. But a few days later, she started slurring her words. A scan revealed a small bleed in the brain. She had experienced a mild stroke, all from one quick movement she'd done thousands of times before. A study published in Neurology linked orthostatic hypotension with up to a 40% higher risk of stroke and heart attack in older adults. That's not just a fluke. It's a physiological vulnerability. So how do you fix it? You slow down. Instead of standing in one motion, take a pause. Sit at the edge of the bed or toilet for 10 to 15 seconds. Flex your ankles. Breathe deeply. Let your body catch up before you move. Because instead of rushing to the next task, you're giving your heart and brain the few extra moments they need to protect you. And that's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's 2:09 a.m. You wake up with that familiar urge. The room is dark. Your eyes are still adjusting. And before you even think, your feet are already moving. It feels automatic. But in that exact moment, half awake, unsteady, and urgent, you may be walking straight into the most dangerous part of your day. Rushing to the bathroom at night is one of the most common causes of serious falls in older adults. And those falls aren't just bruises. They can trigger a cascade of problems, from hip fractures to head injuries to something even more devastating. A hemorrhagic stroke. Think about it. You're groggy. The floor might be cool or slippery. There may be a rug, a step, or a low light switch. And your blood pressure? It's still adjusting from lying down. That combination, urgency, darkness, and instability, is a perfect storm. A 2020 study published in German Neurology found that seniors who experienced nighttime falls, while heading to the bathroom, were 2.5 times more likely to suffer a stroke within the following month. That's not just coincidence, it's the body's response to trauma, especially when the head is involved. Even a mild knock can cause slow internal bleeding, confusion, or swelling. Sometimes the symptoms don't appear for days. So what can you do? First, change the environment. Keep a soft nightlight plugged in, something that gently lights your path. Clear the walkway of any rugs, cords, or low furniture. Use non-slip slippers. And if you ever feel unsteady, consider a bedside rail or a small cane. Second, change the rhythm. When you wake up, sit for a moment. Let your body reorient. Take a breath before you move. This isn't a race. Your safety is more important than a few seconds of speed. Because instead of letting urgency lead to injury, you're choosing awareness. And in that choice, you protect something far more valuable than convenience: your independence. So the next time nature calls in the middle of the night, don't rush blindly toward relief. Walk with intention. Let your body catch up. That small pause could change everything. So what have we really learned? That danger doesn't always come with flashing lights or loud warnings. Sometimes it comes quietly, through routine, through habit, through the things we do without even noticing. Each of the 5 habits we've talked about today lives in the same space: the bathroom, a place so private, so ordinary, that we rarely question it. And yet, inside that room, split-second decisions can quietly build or quietly break your health. Straining too hard, standing too fast, sitting too long, bathing too hot, moving too quickly in the dark. They may seem small, but after 65, small things carry weight. And here's the good news. None of these changes require surgery, medication, or massive lifestyle overhauls. They just require awareness. Instead of forcing your body, listen to it. Instead of rushing, pause. Instead of pushing through discomfort, ask why it's there. Because every time you make that small adjustment, you're not just preventing a fall or reducing a risk, you're building a new kind of strength. The strength that comes from patience, from consistency, from choosing your health, one habit at a time. And that strength, it's what protects your independence, your clarity, your joy. So the next time you walk into your bathroom, don't treat it like a battlefield. Treat it like a place of balance. Breathe deeply. Move slowly. Give your body the grace it needs, and the time it deserves. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced one of these moments? A dizzy spell? A nighttime fall? A habit that now makes more sense after today? Leave a comment below. Your story might help someone else recognize the moment before it happens. And if there's a topic you want us to cover next, maybe sleep, joint pain, or even how emotions affect physical health, tell us. We're building this together. And if this episode helped you, even just a little, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone you care about. Because prevention begins with a single step. And sometimes, that step starts in the quietest room of the house.